I've listened to The Mother, the Mechanic, and the Path by the early November for 8 years.
And I listened to it once yesterday.
Welcome to Spin It.
Early, Connor.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spin It, the record-ranking podcast for people who'd rather be listening to music. I'm James, and with me, it's Connor.
Early, Connor.
The early Connor. Well, that means you probably should have said something sooner than that for that joke to really, work.
Just move me saying the early Connor to before you said hello, and then don't remove it from here. So then I just end up saying it twice, but the first one was early. And then people were like, why did he just say the early Connor at the top of the episode? And then when they get to this part, 2 minutes later, they'll realize.
That's not bad. Yeah, we'll keep all this in there, planning and scheming it out.
Yeah.
Okay, ridiculous. Early Connor, who, from my point of view, was pretty on time, but that's okay.
Hey, you know what they say. If you're on time, you're late, and if you're
early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late, and if you're late, forget about it.
Yeah.
And so I guess in that paradigm, we're talking about the on-time November.
And the late Connor, who you've forgotten about.
God rest his soul.
Oh, no. He didn't die. You just forgot about him.
The late Connor.
Oh, I see.
Oh, you didn't get it. Got it.
No, I didn't. I thought you were just killing me.
No.
It's like, oh no.
Well, there's a specific reason I wanted to do the early November this week, and I thought it'd be ironic.
Yeah, why is that?
Well, you'll notice that, we did all the Mixtober episodes in the previous couple weeks. And Mixtober, we said, kind of ended with this episode, even though it still comes out on the last day of October. And that's why I wanted to do the early November today, because the episode comes out the day before November. It's like November's here early, and Mixtober, we're leaving it behind.
Oh, the early November.
Yes.
You know how most people want to arrive fashionably late to a party?
Yeah.
Right.
We're fashionably early to November.
Yeah, but there's always that one person who's like, I'm going to get there 15 minutes early. And then the host isn't even set up yet because they knew everybody would show up fashionably late. So they didn't even plan to start setting up till the party was supposed to start. And then somebody shows up early and it's like, I'm the first one here. And it's like, well, yeah, you're 15 minutes early to something everybody else is going to be 15 minutes late to.
Sounds like an early Connor problem. I do that if I don't go that early, but if I feel like I'm going to have trouble parking somewhere, I'll get there quick.
Listen, my social anxiety about being late to stuff will cause me to get there on time or even early and then just sit in my car until I am considered fashionably late and go in.
Until I watch someone else walk in.
Yeah. I don't want to be the first one there, but I also don't want to be late. So I will make myself the first one there, but not let anybody know that I'm the first one there.
The early Connor. And the late Connor perhaps are the same person.
Surprise. They're one and the same. The illusion of choice.
Yep.
So that's what I was doing at the beginning of this episode. I was early, but I didn't want you to know I was early. So then I came late.
Right. That's how we're treating November. Yes, it is early November. Marvelous season, marvelous month. This is a different kind of episode. This is the longest album we've ever talked about.
It sure is.
We've talked about some double albums before, right? Like Miranda Lambert and The Weight of These Wings. And
never a triple.
This one's a triple album. Although, I think the total length of tracks in the Ray Stevens Career Classics episode was longer. I think that was 2 hours and 20 minutes. This album runs 2:10.
So you're saying Ray still reigns supreme?
Well, as far as albums go, no, because his wasn't albums, and that's the same reason you justified giving it a 10. His was just a collection of singles that you picked. You could have made it as long as you wanted. This is the band giving us this and saying, here, have 3 records, 3 discs worth of albums per album. So probably we won't be able to talk about every track. Well, not probably, just won't. So we're going to kind of go disc by disc for The Mother, the Mechanic, and the Path and break down each one individually a little bit. But it's fun stuff. Have you ever listened to a triple album before? Was this your first?
I didn't even listen to this one. No.
Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Late Connor strikes again.
I think this is my first triple.
Okay. All right. It was mine too, I'm pretty sure.
Unless you count Epic the Musical, which is 9 mini albums all tied together, in which case I've listened to a 9 album.
Well,
because they're all individual albums, but each one only has like 4 tracks.
Well, that's no different than like Coheed and Cambria doing an overarching story from concept album to concept album, right?
Yeah, well, except they're not. Yeah, I guess you're right. That's probably about the same. Fair.
Yeah, just little concept EPs that chunk together. But it's fun, though. I love when a band gets ambitious.
I like it when somebody gets ambitious and then starts it and then immediately drops it. Like, what's his name? That did Illinois and was going to do one for every state.
Right, Sufjan Stevens' 50 States project. He got 1.5 in and he said, I'm done.
That's enough of this.
Yeah, this one album was really good and no more. You're right, that is hilarious. Well, I found this album back sometime in 2016 or 17. I was working in a warehouse, and it was a long day and a pretty mindless, repetitive job, just sticking labels on things and tossing them around. And so I listened to a lot of music, and I needed to fill that time. Actually, not a small amount of albums we've covered on the podcast I discovered in that phase of my life, which was a couple summers. But I was looking for concept albums. I was looking for storytelling pieces that could be a little more engaging than, track while I was working. And I wanted stuff that ate up a lot of time. And so I was Googling around trying to find long, interesting concept albums. And boy, this really ticked all the boxes at the time. You're telling me this is an album that's the length of a feature film? And it has 46 songs on it. Who knows? Let's try it out. And so I downloaded the MP3s from YouTube somewhere. I don't know. It's questionable. Pay for your music. Before I had streaming, even. That's how far back it was. But there wasn't good internet in this warehouse anyway. So anyway, I listened to this whole album. Very interesting stuff. It got me through that summer. It definitely ate up a lot of time. How did you feel about the length of it? Is it a big, long one for you? I mean...
Oh, yeah, it was a big, long one.
I warned you ahead of time to set aside extra than you normally would for an episode.
Yeah.
Did you attempt to tackle it all in one sitting? Or did you, piecemeal it?
I had to piecemeal it. I wanted to do it all in one sitting. I just didn't have the block of time.
Yeah, right. I know, it's tough. The other question I had, too, right off the bat is, did you know that this was a concept album? And, was the story pick-upable before you got to the Path disc?
Yeah, so it was weird because I kind of assumed it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Since each disc had a title, the mechanic, the mother, the path.
Yeah.
And then I started it and I was like, this isn't really feeling that concept-y.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd get a track. I was like, okay, this actually does seem, maybe it is a loose concept. And then I wasn't sure if it would go throughout the whole album or if each disc was going to be its own concept. But yeah, it was really until you get to the path that it really clicks in and you can see the puzzle for what it is.
Yes. And I think that's a really fascinating feature because I was the same. I was like, I know this is a concept album and I feel the emotion weaving its way through the songs. You can kind of feel the highs and the lows that the characters are going through, but you don't get specifics. You don't get events. These songs feel loosely connected, even when you know the arching concept by the end of disc 3. It's still tough to quite figure out where these songs fit in the characters' stories. But you can approximate, and I think on future listens, that makes it a lot better to understand what is happening in the context of these songs. Oh, now I have more context for Long Talks and Outside because I know what happens in, Therapy Session 5. You can, put the pieces together a lot better.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the early November? What was your emo phase like? Although, it definitely happened after 2005, unless you were a really young emo phase guy.
I don't think I had an emo phase. You've known me for the majority of my phases.
That's true. Well, maybe you're just a late emo, Connor. Maybe it's still coming.
Dude, if I hit my emo phase now, that'd be nuts.
A really late bloomer.
I'm just saying, I almost would have had to have my emo phase in 2005 for you not to have been a part of it.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Well, the early November, this was my first exposure to them. I've jumped into a few of their other albums since, and I really like what they've got going on. But they've got an interesting story, too. They are a New Jersey rock band. They got together for the first time in 2001. Again, well before my music listening time. But at their founding, the early November consisted of friends Ace Enders, the guitarist, and he's the vocalist and primary songwriter in a lot of cases, Jeff Coomer, a drummer, Sergio Anello, a bassist, and before too long, the band would bring in guitarist John Dubitsky, and before too much longer, they'd replace John Dubitsky with Joseph Morrow. So that's the early November. In these early days, the early days of the early November. Ace Enders, he grew up loving music, and he used his stepdad's guitar to teach himself how to play. And when the early November got together, you better believe that he was very excited to offer up his own basement for them to rehearse and record a little 5-song demo tape. And it must have been a really good demo tape, because they sent it off to Drive Thru Records founder Richard Raines, who apparently liked what he heard a lot and signed the band right away in 2002, and he pulled some strings and got them on the Vans Warped tour.
What?
This band that nobody's heard of, that hasn't put out any music from, like, small town New Jersey, suddenly is on the Vans Warped tour. It's a pretty strong showing. It's a great start to the career. By the end of 2002, they'd released their first EP, and Ace would kind of self-create an acoustic version of it as well, which is a trend they've also done in later years. The second early November album I listened to was their 15 years record of acoustic covers of their previous hits, a lot of which I heard for the first time on that album, which is kind of a backwards way to do it, but hey, whatever. Their first proper album, The Room's Too Cold, came out in late 2003, and it went to number 1 on the Billboard Heatseekers chart and number 107 on the Hot 100 overall. Again, really remarkable outing for this up-and-coming debut record band. The album did pretty well. It sent the early November on some significant tours. They toured with bands like A Thorn for Every Heart, and Engine Down, and Sugar Cult, and a lot more. They started to build a significant fan base within the genre. And frankly, that's when the band got ambitious. They decided for their sophomore album, they wanted to go big, very, very big, and they went all in on this massive 3-disc concept album called The Mother, The Mechanic, and The Path. It's kind of a gamble, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, big gamble.
Big gamble. And there's debate about what it did for the band. In preparation for this episode, of course, I looked up a little bit of online discourse about the album and stuff, and some fans think it kind of killed their momentum. Some fans think that it's full of a lot of filler content, right? Songs that aren't engaging. And that's true. They're not all meant to be hit singles. This is no Thriller. It's no Def Leppard Hysteria, right? Different ambitions. But it's a big swing, regardless. Whether you think it's a big hit or a big miss, it's a big swing.
Yeah.
They started recording for the album in February of 2005, but they ran into a lot of speed bumps along the way. First off, they picked up a third guitarist in their former guitar tech, Bill Lugg, and then they had to write the record and nail down the concept. Not an easy job when you're trying to tell a story that's going to stretch 2 hours in length, right? Ace was the one that started to conceive of this story, but there's so many moving pieces and parts to consider, like character development and action, like what the setting and the plot and the way you're going to tell the story through song. So you need a good story, and then you also need good musical tie-ins to back it up. When they first brought this idea to the label was not impressed, but kudos to them. They still encouraged the band to pursue the idea. They said, oh, you want to do a triple disc concept record with that story? Maybe try again, but still do a triple disc concept album. Like, we still are fine with that, but change it up majorly. So Ace went back to the drawing board, and they went through story after story to the point of even suffering a nervous breakdown from just trying to get things right and perfect this vision. Allegedly, they turned in 7 different versions of the record and the story before it finally got the green light. But what they landed on is kind of a concept in itself, too, like outside of the story. Each of these 3 discs attack the same story from different perspectives, but also in different styles. They called the record The Mother, The Mechanic, and The Path, but the first disc, which is out of order with the album title for some reason, is The Mechanic. That's always bothered me.
That did bother me as well, but it does sound better.
It does. It sounds better to say The Mother, The Mechanic, and it also, like, musically makes more sense to put the songs, The Mechanic, The Mother. So these are the sacrifices and incongruencies that you make. The Mechanic is a heavier rock disc. The group called it the safe bet part of the album. They said that the Mechanic disc is kind of the record that they would have made if the other elements of the concept didn't pan out. They call it the Mechanic because it's very technically impressive. And it's, it just aligns better with a Mechanic aesthetic, I guess. Grittier, grungier, rockier. The second disc is The Mother. Now, you can't, conflate them with characters, right? Because there is no Mechanic in the story. The Mother disc is not about the mother in the story. But it's called The Mother because it's much more acoustic and stripped down. It's alliterative with the Mechanic. and is still kind of dealing with pretty standard songs, but the energy has definitely shifted. The focus is a lot more on storytelling than the production of a lot of the songs. Then, the real glue that turns this loose concept into a concept and that makes this album very, very memorable. Again, love it or hate it. Big swing, super memorable album. That's the Path disc. It's experimental, it's concept heavy, it's much more of like a kaleidoscope of song snippet and story rather than just song, not track. There's a real fluidity between the sung and the spoken elements on the Path because they overlap and they conjoin, they call back with ease, and we just get more characters that speak directly instead of through Ace as a vocalist. We get more theatrics. The Path is closer, I think, to an audio drama in a lot of ways than an album, which is a really interesting vibe. Something kind of new for the podcast.
It is new. And it's fun that we can still do new stuff this deep into the podcast.
Oh, man. Yeah, the wells run deep. I've got a lot of stuff in the arsenal that, I'm so excited to throw at you in who knows how many episodes. But this is, admittedly, this is one I've been looking forward to for a long time. I was just waiting for the right time to do it, but I'm excited to have an episode on it. The Mother, the Mechanic, and the Path finally came out on July 11th, 2006. Although, remarkably, in 2006, the whole album was available to stream 9 days earlier. I don't know where, but that's cool. They also released a first week Best Buy exclusive DVD that had a 30-minute making of documentary. I don't know how many copies of that exist, but I'd love to see it. I don't know how many people bought this album in the first week at Best Buy, but...
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me either. I was too young to have money.
Well, that wasn't my reason. I was rolling in it.
Oh, yeah?
Budget unlimited.
Wow. Well, I'm jealous.
You should be.
I was budget non-existent. The album, though, it did get pretty solid reviews. Absolute Punk gave it an 83 out of 100. All Music awarded it 4 out of 5 stars. And also, odd, The Mother, the Mechanic, and the Path did get a vinyl release in 2014. Like, once the vinyl boom was in its early stages. Then the record company was like, oh, we can make money off of this. But I guarantee the vinyl would not have been a big seller in 2006. So it's probably good that they waited. I checked because I was curious, and today you can get the vinyl for like $70 online. I'm half tempted, but only half. So this is a big, ambitious record. After it came out, the early November was touring with bands like Matchbook Romance, Starting Line, Newfound Glory, and a very personal favorite of mine, Anne Berlin. Love them. But after their 2007 touring schedule, the early November decided to take an indefinite hiatus. Probably has a little bit to do with Ace getting married in 2006. In that hiatus, Ace worked on some solo projects. He built his own recording studio in the basement of a shopping center. He also had 2 kids. So it makes sense. Take that time off and go be a dad. Probably a lesson he learned from this very album. Go be a dad. By 2011, though, the early November had reunited, and they hit the ground running. They signed with Rise Records, and they put out their 3rd record called In Currents in 2012. That quickly jumped to number 43 on the Billboard 200. They put out 3 more studio albums since then: Imbue, Lilac, another one that I've listened to and really like, and then a self-titled record that I haven't gotten around to yet, but I'm curious about. But that brings their total studio albums up to 6. Their most recent's from 2024, so, maybe more music is coming soon in the next year or 2. Who's to say? They've also put out 2 compilation albums. One of those is the 15 Years acoustic record from 2017 that I've ranked and scored. It's got songs from their first 4 albums on it, so you can hear some reimaginings of tracks from The Mother, the Mechanic, and the Path on that album. So that's the early November. That's the band we're dealing with. That's the giant concept album we're tackling today. And we'll dig more into that in a minute, but first, you know the drill. We gotta get the Mixtaper in here. And we got to play some Factor Spin.
Do you think he's an early on time or late mixtaper?
Oh, he's definitely a late mixtaper.
Hey, it's me, the Mixtaper.
Well, I stand corrected. Hello, Mixtaper. Early Mixtaper and late Connor, my co-hosts for this episode. I'm just normal old on-time James.
Wait, am I early? Does that not make you?
No, you're right on time. I mean, well, you're early in terms of my sentence not being finished yet before you said, hey, it's me. But you're on time in terms of the flow of the show.
Tell you what, why don't you at the very beginning of the episode put the "Hey, it's me," and then they'll wonder why you started the episode.
I did it for Connor, but I'm not going to do it for you too.
Oh, but that'd be really funny for it to just start with "Hey, it's me," and then whatever the heck Connor said.
I mean, his was remarkably similar. He just said the early Connor.
It's just the episode starts with both of those phrases, and people are like, "What the heck?" And then they get the understanding for the early Connor one, and then they get the context here for mine.
But you know what I kind of like, though? That mirrors the way that you understand the Mother, the Mechanic, and the Path.
Yeah.
Until you get later into it, you're kind of putting pieces together. And then all is revealed deeper into the episode.
Exactly. You ready to learn 4 new things about early November?
I am. I'm very ready for it.
It's nice.
Oh, also it's important to note that this is our honorary tiebreaker for Mixtober. Because we tied on the Eminem, Black Sabbath, and Asking Alexandria episodes. Cumulatively, we're even. So we're using this episode to break the tie and find out who won Mixtober, which is a thing we've never kept track of or cared about before, but we're doing it now.
Let's see. Let's start with they have an impressive conga.
Conga?
Yeah.
Are you talking like conga, like the big drum that you play with your hands, like a bongo but tall? Or are you talking conga like a conga line?
The latter.
They have an impressive conga line.
Yeah, but that wasn't as funny as just saying an impressive conga.
No, it wasn't. You're right. They have one. Like, is it ongoing?
I guess had would have been the
Better tense of verb.
Yeah.
I'll blame it on the earliness of the early Mixtaper.
Sure.
How impressive of a conga are we talking? Double-digit people in a conga line?
It was, I guess, the number of people because of how it happened would be also impressive. But it was the span of time in which the conga line existed that was impressive.
Oh, duration. There's 3 ways that a conga line can be impressive. One is the amount of people. One is the duration. One is the complexity and speed of the conga line. I'd love to see, like, the world's fastest conga line. Not shortest, but fastest. Just everybody sprinting, That'd be fun.
Dude, like conga line races?
Oh, that's sick. And if your hands come off the other person's shoulders, you gotta stop.
Dude, we need that in the Olympics.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But teams are not made up of like host countries where you get to practice together. Teams are randomly drawn, and so you get paired up with random people from other countries to conga with, and it's whoever can form the fastest conga. No practice.
That's awesome. It sounds very dangerous. That first person trips and everybody's going down.
And you can even do it like one of those relay races where like at certain points you pick up another member of the conga that you have to coordinate with. Like it starts out as like a 4-person conga
that has to start running along next to you and join behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it happens. One at a time, you build the conga as you run.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's a cool idea.
But that's not what the early November did.
No, I guess not. We just invented a new sport though. That's pretty fun. Conga relay. Goodness. Well, you mentioned the circumstances that this conga started under were unexpected. What caused this conga line?
During one of their tours.
Okay.
At one of their live shows, the audience decided to form a conga line.
Okay. And was the band a part of it, or were they just watching it and playing music to it?
They were doing their own things. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
I want to focus on the conga. The impressive part is that the conga formed very early into the show and stayed formed the entirety of their performance.
The whole set.
People traded in and out, but the conga line was always going.
Wow. Now, is this like a full, I don't know, hour and a half, 2-hour set? Is this a 45-minute opening act? Like, what is the, roughly?
This was on one of their 2020 tour stops, I guess.
Wow.
Which is a weird time. It must have been before everything got shut down.
Yeah, that's wild. That was the last year I expected you to say.
I know, right? It's not really a year known for its conga.
No, not at all. Maybe everyone was 6 feet apart, just sticking their hands.
And I assume it was one of their more open venue stops or something in order to have room to do a conga.
Right, not a mosh pit. Everyone's up on the rail.
So that's the conga. And then you asked what the band was, if they participated in the conga.
I did.
They did not. Ace Enders was, for at least part of it, probably not the whole time. That'd be wild. But for part of it, he was balanced on a unicycle.
Whoa.
while Jeff Coomer jammed on the bongo drums.
That's
The way this reads, that's how like they started the conga. Was like while he was doing that and then he was on the bongo drums, they started a conga line, and then the conga line just stayed formed the entirety of the rest of the set.
That's really wild. Bongos, I mean, that makes sense. The rhythm of a bongo would lend itself to a conga line. Like I said, congas, the drums, are big bongos, virtually. Like, that's the vibe of them. So that makes sense. Why is he on a unicycle?
I mean, why not? If you could ride a unicycle, would you not use every excuse to be on one?
Not every excuse, but a lot of them.
Most.
Honestly, I learned from Green Day way back in the day why not to be on a unicycle. So I'm a little more afraid of them now than I used to be.
I learned how to ride a unicycle at one point in my life. One weekend, I got to the point where I could, go around the parking lot on one.
You can ride a unicycle?
I said there was a time in which I could ride a unicycle. I do not think I still have that skill.
It sounds like it's half as forgettable as riding a bike.
The mount and dismount is the hardest part. Once you actually get going, the momentum kind of carries itself. You're good. The hardest part is just getting started and getting that initial balance. And then the dismount is difficult.
Not for me.
Well, specifically, the dismount is difficult if you want to maintain control of the unicycle once you dismount. If you just want to hop off of it and let it just careen and crash into whatever's nearby, that's easy.
Yep.
But to get off of it and not let the unicycle get away from you, that's more difficult.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Well, you learn something new every day.
It was me and my cloud classmates.
Yep. Taking a break from learning about the water cycle to learn about the unicycle.
Very different cycles.
Yep. Now, man, that is an impressive conga. I think this could happen. I could see a set-long conga line happening, but I don't think it happened for the early November. I think I'm going to say this is a spin. Unicycle, that's a wild detail to throw in there if this is a spin, because it's so unnecessary to the rest of the fact, and it really makes it feel like a spin.
Uh-huh.
It distracts from the conga line, honestly, but I think it's still a spin.
Go spin. But you think this is true about somebody?
I can believe a set-long conga line about somebody, but I don't think it's the early November.
This is a spin.
Aha. It also helps that November is National Conga Line Month.
Is it?
No, I just made that up. But wouldn't it be crazy if it was? Thought you'd get one over on me.
It is now. It's officially Spin It Conga Line Month. It's a Spin It recognized holiday.
Oh, look at this. There is no Conga Line Month.
There is now.
But apparently Hispanic Heritage Month is from September 15th to October 15th. So Mixtober is very close to Conga Line time.
Wow. Yeah, this whole fact was completely made up.
Fun one, though.
Yeah, and I threw in the unicycle to distract from the conga line a little bit.
Sneaky.
So you didn't think too hard about it.
World Conga Day is on October 18th, 2017.
We're just all around conga territory.
Yeah, dude, honestly, she's one of my favorite characters in the Winnie the Pooh franchise. That's a pretty fun made-up fact. I think that's a really enjoyable one.
Thank you.
Who doesn't love a conga line?
People in their emo phase.
And we got a new Olympic sport out of it.
We did get a new Olympic sport out of it.
Okay, here's a fact that I'm finding. The longest conga line consisted of 119,986 participants. It was done in 1988.
That is awesome. So that's beatable, though. That's a number that, especially with they did that pre-internet.
Yeah, we can really coordinate now. They did it in Miami.
That is so beatable.
You got to block off, miles for a conga line like that. For 120,000 people to do a conga line?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Whoa, the farthest any group has ever conga'd is 15.5 miles in 2020. That sucks. Imagine getting together with your buddies and going, guys, we're going to conga for 15.5 miles today. And they all go, okay.
I'm just saying, that's so easy. That's such an easy number to beat. If we can get all the Joshes together for a fight, you remember when that was a thing back in 2022 or whatever?
Yeah.
We could pull everybody together.
I can't find any time records for the conga line. However, the longest time someone spent playing a conga drum is 25 hours, 1 minute, and 11 seconds. What on earth? Most revolutions around a melon by a 3-person conga line in 30 seconds. That's a record.
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
Say that one again?
It's the most revolutions around a melon by a 3-person conga line in 30 seconds.
How many? What's the record?
2.
Such an unimpressive number.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it is.
Are we ready for fact 2, or are we still talking conga lines over here?
I'm just trying to figure out how they only made it around this melon twice.
They weren't very efficient. They would not do well in the relay conga at the Olympics.
No, they would not. It's also not even a conga line.
Would you consider the relay conga a summer or winter sport?
Summer, just like track.
Oh, okay.
There's also records for the ice skating conga line, which is like 350 people. So we could do a winter variant on ice.
Oh, ice conga. That's nuts.
Yep.
We'll talk about that later.
Right. We've been on the conga thing for a minute. What's fact number 2?
They had an interpreter at one of their shows.
Interpreter. That's great. What kind of interpreter? What did the interpreter interpret their music into?
It was a tarot card reader.
Oh, I would assumed you meant like an interpreter, doing sign language or something translating into a different language, but a tarot card reader at one of their shows.
Yeah.
Were they reading tarot cards about the band or for people in the audience?
It was about the songs they were playing.
Interesting. What kind of tarot things can you read into the songs that they're playing? Like, oh, this next one's going to go well. It's going to be a banger. What? How does that work? Ooh, 3 of Cups. This one's going to be boy genius.
Well, you see, on their 2024 album, calling back to like last week's episode, they did their self-titled album as their 2024 album.
Yes, they did. It's just like last. That's wild. I didn't even put that together. It's true.
And I don't know if you've listened to that album.
Not yet.
But many of the songs are named after tarot cards. The Empress, the Magician, the Fool, the High Priestess.
Oh.
And so the tarot card reader would interpret as those songs played and like give fortunes about. I really don't understand. It was a promotional gimmick.
Sure.
I don't really know what she did, but it was all themed around the fact that a lot of their songs on that album are tarot inspired.
Fun. I could see that. And this was like during a concert?
Yes.
That's tough. I think this one is also a spin.
Also a spin, but yet you could see it.
I can kind of see it. It seems like not a bad promotional gimmick if so many of your songs are themed after tarot cards. But also
it's a spin apparently, so
yeah.
Locking that in?
Yeah, I just don't understand much about the mechanics of how that would work. If the tarot card reader is up on stage, like just reading into a microphone before every song, or...
It just says, that the tarot card reader would interpret each song as the band played it. I don't know what there is to interpret.
Curious. Yeah, I think I'm going to say this one's a spin.
Going with spin.
Feels very Mixtober adjacent, though.
This is a spin.
Woo! Okay.
True spin.
What are you doing?
Wanted to psych you out a little.
Yeah, that did psych me out a little bit. But it's not real. No interpreters for them.
Nope.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I thought so. That's why I came up with it.
Yeah?
Do you want to hear about surfing or potential record breaking?
Oh boy, I get to choose. We've touched on record breaking earlier. Let's save that for last and talk about surfing.
Okay. They wrote one of their hits, Desert Surfing.
Desert surfing. Is that where you like sled down a dune?
No, that'd be desert sledding.
Oh, right. Well, what's desert surfing then?
Well, that's when you surf down a dune. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding.
The waves of sand.
That's just what they called it. I really think it's a little, I guess it takes place in a desert, but it really doesn't have much else to do than that other than being in the desert. But it's when you strap a surfboard to the roof of your van and then get up on it and the car starts driving and then you're like surfing on top of the car. Like car surfing, but they did it in the desert.
Oh, you're on a surfboard on a car in the desert.
Yeah.
Wow. That sounds so stupid and dangerous.
Yeah. They were doing that in 2002 when they were goofing off on their Warped tour.
Wow.
And that's how they came up with the lyrics. That's what inspired the lyrics to their song Make It Happen.
Make It Happen. Unfortunately, not one I know. What are the lyrics in Make It Happen that it inspired? Can I look them up? I guess it's true that they might not be relevant.
So the lyrics are, tonight, under lights we stroll, and we're never coming back. And I swear I'll never let you go. If you come away with me, and I'm never gonna know. Let's go out of this place. Make it happen. Never gonna know. Let's go out of this place. Make it happen. Never gonna know. Let's go out of this place. Make it happen. Bit of a repetitive song.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it seems like you could come up with that on a surfboard. Seems like that's the vibe of car surfing emotionally. They get hurt doing this? I mean, what happens when you wipe out?
Well, if you're good, you don't wipe out.
Well, I don't know, though. I would imagine this is much more difficult than a unicycle. I mean, talk about the dismount. Ooh.
I don't know. Unicycle pretty tough.
How fast were they driving the car, though?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Well, touche. The concept of desert surfing is really mind-boggling. Like, why anyone would do that is beyond me.
Yeah.
Like, standing up on a surfboard strapped to your car?
Yeah.
Do you think they were driving on the road, or if they were in the desert, were they off-roading it somewhere? Probably on a road, right? Otherwise, it's bumpy.
I mean, yeah, probably I would imagine on the road, but I mean, it could be either, with it being the desert.
Yeah, I think this one is... I'll say fact. I'll say this one's a fact.
Gonna say it's a fact.
I don't know if I believe it, but car surfing is such a ridiculous concept that, I don't know, I'm just intrigued. Like, would they?
Well, you could see the other two, but then you locked in spin, so you can't see this one, so you gotta lock in fact. That's how it works.
I don't know how it works. I'm just here to play.
This is... Yeah, a true spin.
Oh, no. Bummer. So they didn't car surf. Good. Honestly, good. I feel a little better about that. Do people do that?
Car surf? They do in the movies. That's where I came up with it. I don't know if... I'm sure people have done it in real life.
I guess.
Though I don't think there's usually actually a surfboard. I think you just get on top of the car.
That does, yeah, cut out the middleman. And the lyrics for Make It Happen, huh? You really put some details into that spin.
Well, I had to do something.
That's true.
You were running away with it.
Yeah, you put a stop to my... If I had got that one right, I'd win Mixtober. So now it all comes down to this.
Are you ready to hear about potential record breaking?
Yeah. How many times have they danced around a melon?
Danced or Conga?
Conga.
Two different records.
Though, yeah, but the video was more like they danced. Anyway, what's the early November's potential broken record? And why is it only potential? So many questions.
They posited in an interview that they might hold the record for most equipment replaces in 1 month.
Most equipment replacements in a month?
Yep.
Like guitars and amps and drumsticks and stuff?
Yeah, like all their gear.
All their gear. They replace it more than monthly?
Yeah.
How does this happen? What are they doing to it?
Well, first, we got to play everybody's new favorite game show. Guess that. Gear replacement amount. How many times in 1 month do you think they replaced all their gear?
Well, a number that feels potentially realistic, but also world record worthy. I want to say 5. Because 4 is like weekly, but 5 feels like, I'm exasperated now. We're replacing our gear more than once a week. You know what I mean?
You're very close, but a little high.
4.5.
It was 4. Well, and a half. It was 4.
Oh, okay. Still a lot. So when you said that and made me play that game, at first I was like, why would they replace all their gear? Do they get tired of it? Do they not want it? Does it break? But then I thought, maybe there have been, like, accidents and disasters. Think about B.B. King's bus who blew up. Like,
yeah, you're on the right path with that line of thinking.
Yeah, or even last week, like Asking Alexandria, their amp exploded and they flooded the place. Not really, but we talked about how that's a possibility. So maybe something that they're doing is ruining their gear and they have to keep buying new.
So it's 2 and 2s. They had to replace their gear twice because of one reason and then twice because of a different.
Uh-oh.
Reason number 1, they lost it.
Lost it? Just straight up misplaced it?
Lost / it was stolen. So
okay.
2 slightly different reasons. Once was stolen, once was, they just said lost. In the thing, they say that they lost their gear twice, and then they specifically call out how once it was stolen. So I don't really know how the second one was lost, just that they lost their gear twice.
Okay. Bummer. Loss and theft. Definitely a factor. And that means the other 2 times have to be what? Disaster related? Accidents?
Disaster related, yeah. They flipped their van twice.
Oh, goodness. Yikes. How? Yeah, I mean, you, the first time accidents happen. The second time, have we learned nothing?
Maybe they were desert surfing.
I hope not.
Yeah, don't know how they flipped it, just that they flipped it twice.
And it destroyed all the gear that was in the van? Were they okay?
Yeah, I guess. Probably some bangs and bruises, but they didn't say. They told the story like it was just a funny reminiscence of their early days.
Wow. How much did that cost them in gear?
Well, for that... No, I don't have a number.
Oh, okay.
I won't make you play the game.
Thank you. Once is enough. Wonder what the world record really is. Probably not trackable. I think...
He thinks. For the win, he thinks.
Well, losing the gear 4 times is not inconceivable. Having to replace it that many times in a short span, I mean, when it rains, it pours. I know the feeling. So I get that, but flipping the van twice? I don't know. In a month? Flipping the van twice in a month? Was it the same van? Is my next question.
That I don't know. And also, in full disclosure, one source said that it was in a 2-month period. And in a different interview, they said it was in a 1-month period. So
Okay.
I went with the 1 month because that's the cooler fact. But it could be a 2-month period if that sways your decision.
It doesn't move me too much. I think I'm going to say this one's a spin as well. I think we got an all spins week.
Go and spin. An all spins week.
Well, even if it's true, there's 2 spins in that van. So
Is a flip a spin?
it's half of one. So I guess 2 flips would be all the way. That's a 360.
1 spin. You think I went all spins for the tie-breaking honorary Mixtober episode?
I think so. This is the last day of Mixtober when the episode comes out.
When I'm at my most powerful.
Yeah, your dastardly powers are probably still they're waning, but they're still stronger, you know?
Yeah. Actually, for me, it just builds up throughout the month, and then it's just like an immediate drop-off when November 1st gets here.
Oh,
It's just like exponential power up, and then boom, plummets back down.
bottoms out.
It's why I had such creative spins this week, such as conga lines and tarot card readings,
Yeah.
desert surfing, but not potential record breakings, because that is a true fact.
Really?
They flipped their van twice and lost all their gear another
Wow.
2 times.
Oh, my goodness. That's unbelievable.
All in either a 1 or 2 month period.
That's tough. That's really tough.
Yeah,
And probably would set a record.
probably. And so with that, we 50-50.
We did. We tied.
The tiebreaker.
Darn, I should have been more careful about desert surfing.
You should have. You could have had the win. And, because it's my month, ties go to me. So I win Mixtober.
Well, I don't know about all that.
I gave you a chance to win it, but it's my month.
It is.
You deny me my victory on the month of me.
Give it a rest, Brando.
Well, did you enjoy your 4 new things you learned this week?
I did, as always.
Was it an educational week?
Yeah, I
It
learned.
definitely was. We learned a lot about conga.
I was going to say, I learned so much more about conga lines than I ever thought. 120,000 people?
That's impressive.
That's so many people.
Well, I guess there's nothing left to do but give my outro remark.
Yep. Are you going to do it early this time, or are you moving to late Mixtaper?
I'll get around to it.
I think he's going to be late Mixtaper. Oh, boy. That conga line had as many people in it as Lowell, Massachusetts.
That's fascinating.
It is. More than the population of Provo, Utah, and Lansing, Michigan, Carlsbad, California, Springfield, Illinois. All these cities are smaller than the longest conga line.
That's cool.
Santa Maria, California, Bend, Oregon, Boulder, Colorado.
Dude, I'm gonna. You know how when you go into certain cities, they have their population posted
Yep.
on their sign, right? Every time I go into a city now and I see one of those signs, I'm gonna think about this city's smaller than the world's longest conga line.
That's right. Like Hartford, Connecticut is roughly the conga line size. Little bigger. Anyway, welcome back, Connor.
Howdy.
Howdy. Let's talk about this album cover. It's a little drawing done by Ace Enders himself. There's a mother, there's a mechanic, there's a kid. No path.
I mean, how do we know that guy's a mechanic?
Well, we don't. And actually, in the story, he's not a mechanic. If this is a character drawn to represent the title of the album, then he'd be a mechanic. But if it's a character drawn to represent the actual Matt in the story, then he is working in law. He's a legal assistant, right? So who can tell?
Maybe the kid is the mechanic.
Oh, maybe little Dean is the mechanic.
The kid looks more like he belongs in law than the guy.
Yeah, no doubt. He's all dressed up fancy with his little bow tie type thing, ascot.
We've had Kid Doctor with Doogie Howser.
Oh, we as a society, not we as a podcast.
Yeah, society.
Right.
Why have we never had Kid Lawyer?
Because law school takes a long time. Although I guess you don't have to go to law school to...
So does med school.
Well, yeah, that's true. No, you're right. That's a flawed premise from the beginning. I think Ace should not quit his day job. It's cool that he can draw this well. I don't know, it's always looked a little muddled to me, this cover.
I couldn't draw this well. You've seen my drawings.
Yeah, your drawings are not this good, but that's okay. Well, we're going to do things a little differently today. Normally, we'd go track by track by track through the whole album.
But we don't have time for all of that.
No, this is a 46-track album. And of course, some of the later tracks are more expository and short, but the principle still stands. It's a triple album. We just couldn't.
Which means we're going to do something we haven't done since episode 0.
Well, a little bit, but I feel like we should go disc by disc by disc.
Sure.
And talk about, what we liked on disc 1 and our favorite tracks and the style and the sound and what differentiates each disc.
Yeah, but we've gone track by track for every album since episode 1.
Pretty much.
Only episode 0 had a different format.
Yeah, we did a different format for the test episode, and then we have skipped around in the past.
True.
Sometimes we'll try to hit all the tracks on like a B-side episode, like with Drake. But I don't know, like with Miranda Lambert and The Weight of These Wings, we did have to skip a couple and just highlight a few.
Yeah.
So we'll still talk about plenty, but it'll be different than our usual format. So here's your heads up halfway through the episode. If you're hoping for that, sorry we got your hopes up.
That's really your own fault for thinking we were going to do 46 songs, 2 hours and 12 minutes.
That's true. We'd have an eternal podcast. But up first is disc 1. It's the Mechanic disc, and it is, again, just a refresher, it's the disc that the band would have made if they only made one album. This is mostly what it would have sounded like.
Sounds good.
It does sound good, right? I love some of their melodies. Ace has a really good ear for melody, and you hear that a lot on so many of these like song tracks. I think we get a good feel right away for what this disc is going to be like with the money in his hand. It feels emblematic of the whole first 11 tracks. But I think it's interesting that the story, the concept is still vague at this point and kind of unwinds as you dig into the album. It kind of becomes evident over time, and that's really interesting. Like we talked about earlier, it doesn't really congeal until the third disc.
Indeed. But this disc really sets the stage.
Yeah. It introduces our characters in a little bit of a roundabout way, right? On Decoration, we sing about like taking the boy to the back and covering up his ears. And, we get elements that the characters are having, like long talks and outside that we learn later about Dean and his grandma. But
Yep.
for now, we just kind of move through these emotions and you can feel that they're heavy and weighty emotions, but you can't exactly tie them one for one to a story.
It's like watching the first act of a play without realizing you're in a play.
Yeah. A little bit.
You think you're just like experiencing life and there's like, oh yeah, there's these things happening. And then you were like, wait a second, this is all connected in a story?
Yeah, like you're being punked. Or like if you were to like go watch an opera in a foreign language that you don't speak without any like translations or subtitles, you can maybe follow a little bit by seeing what the characters are doing on the stage and hearing the emotion in the song and the music, but you might not be able to follow the story the best.
But also you don't realize it's an opera.
Yeah, but suddenly everyone's singing. I like so many songs on this first disc. I feel like, I don't know, I can't tell where my playlist pick is going to come from yet, but there are some strong tracks from each disc that could really make the final cut.
There's some good ones.
Obviously, the big one is Decoration.
Yep.
It towers above everything else on the album in streams and popularity.
It's a good one, though.
It really is. Decoration, I love the way he kind of launches into the chorus on that song. Decoration. That's really cool. And it's an important song to the story because it comes back in an acoustic, sad, slowed down version later. It gets a reprise. But also, I think I've seen, people online talking about this album and stuff, and they're confused about like the meaning of decoration. Like, what is the decoration? What's being decorated? And I think, honestly, it's the kid. The kid is the thing that is like in the way. We're decorating our house. We're making sure things are all good, and so we're going to shove the boy in the back and keep him a secret and chain him to the bed so he won't want to rape. Like, we'll treat him like a decoration, like an accessory to our lifestyle because we're not ready to integrate him into it.
Yeah.
You can kick it in the back and make it all go away. Definitely a big standout moment. And we kind of ride a high here with like No Good at Saying Sorry right after that. I think it's a really vulnerable, like there's an element of, the characters are telling these stories, but No Good at Saying Sorry feels so deeply personal that it's hard to believe that this wouldn't come from like Ace's real life. And it's all about anger management and lashing out. There's nothing here except a hole in the wall.
I like the guitar on No Good at Saying Sorry.
Yeah. It's quiet, it's soft, and then there's like that little higher up, almost like a slide guitar part. That's what it sounds like.
Is that what it is? A slide guitar?
Yeah, and it just accentuates that chord progression. And then I like the way that it breaks out on the chorus.
Yeah.
There's some good background vocals. Oh man, No Good at Saying Sorry is really great. It's honestly a good disc. I think if this is your surefire disc, it would be pretty surefire. It's ambitious to beef it up with so much on the other discs, but
yeah, I mean, so much of the time we're like, oh, this album could have been better if they cut a couple tracks, they bit off more than they could chew.
Yeah.
So then to make an album and be like, this is what would be our album, but we're going to do more.
Yeah.
It's bold.
It's bold.
Once you have a solid album, you can only, like, the risk versus reward. You have way more of a chance to mess up your good album than you do to make something legendary.
That's true.
So it's a bold move.
It's a bold move. Again, whether you think it's a big hit or a big miss, it definitely is a big swing. And yeah, I don't know if this album goes down as like legendary, but it's certainly notable.
Yeah.
Even like I've ranked hundreds of albums. Like I'm at 900 albums ranked, and I've not found anything even close to this length, really. Not practically. There's some like deluxe and super deluxe editions that make it, but to be one solid concept album that's longer than a lot of feature films is kind of unreal.
Yeah.
I also really like Outside. Be remiss if we didn't talk about Outside. This song got an acoustic cover on that compilation album, that career retrospective they put out a few years later. And that one I've always liked a lot too. It's a sad song, but it's got a really happy veneer on it. It's time to go outside. I'm going to be sick for a while. It's going to be quite some time. What we learn later is it's the point in the story where his grandma is dying, like actually terminally ill, and Outside kind of covers that part of the story, but it just feels like such an interesting song. Feels happy, feels upbeat. I also really like the Car in 20. As we're getting later on into disc 1, the Car in 20 kind of jolts the energy a little more, and it's chaotic, like this point in the story where our protagonist's life is turned upside down. It feels rushed, it feels frantic. That's pretty much, the mechanic. I like a lot about it.
I liked our closing track, Figure It Out.
Yeah.
One, it kind of felt like a cheeky, like in hindsight, a bit of a cheeky, like, hey, figure out that this is all connected.
Like a fourth wall break.
Yeah. At the same time, it's just a good song.
It is. I like that it, serves as a little bit of a slowing down out of disc 1. Like we're hitting the brakes a little bit to prepare us for the much more mellow disc 2.
And as you mentioned, they're very good at harmony, and Figure It Out just full of it.
Yeah, Figure It Out such a clean song. And all of these melodies, he's just got a really good way to weave his way through a chord progression. He finds the most catchy melody possible in all of these songs. And they're unique. They flow together really well, but they're still distinct enough that none of them really, you don't get confused, listening to this album. Everything that's a callback is very intentionally a callback and not like an accident that sounds like something 3 tracks ago. So there's a lot of good stuff on the mechanic. It is very technically impressive. Good old emo rock album. I don't think too many people would have been disappointed with the mechanic and what they heard on it. I think the same is pretty true for The Mother, disc 2. It's got a lot of the same songwriting strengths. I just feel like a lot of people that knew this band at the time expected a little more edge and bite like disc 1 had. And so if they had only put out disc 2, probably it would have fallen a little flat because it doesn't have as many teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there's some really great stuff on disc 2. I like that it's a lot slower and more reflective. It's kind of the meat of the album, right? We get the jump start in the beginning, and this part kind of carries us through the slower part of the story. This is a lot of emotional weight on The Mother, whereas The Mechanic was a lot of action and, our characters going places and doing things. Disc 2 is really reflective and internal more than external. And I think it does a great job at meeting that need for the story. And you could tell it's different right away from my lack of skill. We had so many ripping guitars on disc 1, and disc 2 we come in with this quiet little piano. Sounds like it's coming through a phonograph.
Well, yeah, and it's a good transition coming from Figure It Out, but it definitely stands out.
Oh yeah. Well, it lets you know you're in for something different. Like, not just a normal double album, 3 distinct bits. I think this next run is the strongest run on the album. From A Little More Time down to From Here to LA, it's some of my favorite from this record. I honestly think, I don't know, I'll spill the beans now, I think disc 2 is my favorite of the 3.
Wow.
I appreciate disc 3 for all the reasons that we'll get into in a bit, like the concept and the storytelling. But as far as the music goes, man, there's not much better than this stretch of disc 2. I think the perfect album constructed from this record would be a blend of probably 4 or 5 songs from disc 1, 6, maybe 7 songs from disc 2, and then 1 or 2 from disc 3. But you'd have to find a way to de-integrate them from the story a little bit if you wanted to smush this album down to a normal length. A Little More Time has one of my favorite guitar runs on the album to open it and kind of that hooks you the whole time through. I think it's just gorgeous. I like Hair, the cheekiness of Hair. Love your shoes, you look great. Hello, how are you? Where's your smile? Like, there's just a real attitude there that just does a good job at putting you in the shoes of our hero, the young Dean. Driving South is a beautiful song, a traveling song about freedom and escape. Scared to Lose kind of puts us in another emotional spot, like No Good at Saying Sorry did. And From Here to LA is the same kind of thing. Like, I just think there's so much to love in that little run.
It's a good run. I wish all my runs were like that.
Yeah, no kidding. So how did the sound, do you think, of the Mother disc compare to the sound on the Mechanic disc? As the ballad guy, I kind of expect disc 2 to appeal to you a little bit more.
I am a pretty big ballad guy, but I also am a rock guy, and the rock tones of disc 1, quite a big fan of.
Yeah.
So, could go either way.
That is exciting.
Who's to say?
Yeah. I figured that would be the case, and that disc 1 and 2 would both be really strong for you. And we'd have like a pretty solid 22 track record. I don't know. The big swing is the concept part, of course. You don't like talking in songs, and half of the thing is dialogue, but it's not really meant to be like integrated into a song. The whole thing is like one experience. I don't know. We'll get there.
I like hair.
Yeah.
Hello, how are you? Like your shoes, love your hair.
Yeah, there's a certain rhythmic bump to hair.
I just like your hair. I would not say I love your hair.
Ooh.
I would say I like it.
Yeah, reasonable.
Hello, how are you? Like your shoes, like your hair.
That'd be a confusing thing to say to someone. And that chorus on Hair is awesome, too. All we have at the end of the game is a lonely road out. And all I know at the end of the day is I love to smile, even if it's fake. There's this certain platitude about it. You just, surface level, are being happy, nice, and friendly. It's a lonely road out, and we're all destined to walk it. Hair's got like a sarcastic edge to it.
I think Hair might be my favorite track on this disc.
Ooh, interesting. Oh, I meant to ask too if you had a favorite track from disc 1, but I guess we'll find it out in your Connor top 3. I think Hair is my most listened to track on disc 2. Maybe up there with A Little More Time, but I don't think it's my favorite.
Which one's your favorite?
It's a great question. I think in the context of the album, my favorite of the last two, The Truth Is and 1,000 Times a Day, because
1,000 Times a Day is pretty great.
Yeah, it tells this really cute love story of our characters meeting and falling in love. It feels like a way out of this dark tunnel we've been in. But the truth is heartbreaking. I mean, it's just so sad in the slowest moment, at least on these first two discs.
Sure. The Hair just had such a catchy hook.
It does. Outside of the album, I like A Little More Time the most, I think. And that's because it exists the best without the story context. I think A Little More Time works as an up-tempo kind of love song across the border of the album.
Yeah.
You can just play that as a single and people would get it the same. Hair requires a little more digging and understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, I guess. But Hair, disc 1 is what the album would be if they didn't do this crazy endeavor, right? And to me, I would want Hair to be moved up into disc 1 so it didn't get left out because of how catchy it is.
Well, me too.
And I didn't have that with some of these other songs. Like 1,000 Times a Day is pretty great, but it didn't fit with disc 1, I guess.
No, it certainly doesn't.
And so, to me, I guess maybe that's why Hair stood out more, because I was like, oh, this is a track that would fit really well with disc 1 in terms of like vibe, and I would miss it.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Well, I think that too, that integration of, yeah, we're going to make a disc that's a rockier disc and we're going to make a disc that's less rocky, to still have the presence of mind to include songs like Hair on the second disc really makes the transition a smooth one and really gives the album a lot more to say for continuity's sake. It's not like a hard pivot to something entirely new. It's like, oh no, we've eased into just a different phase of the story, but it's still the same tale that's going on. So overall, yeah, I really like the Mother disc. I think it is pretty uncontested as my favorite, but man, I think the coolest part of this album is the ways that they tried to make disc 3. It's definitely a break. You almost have to fully reset like everything that you've been on before you get to disc 3. Did you recognize that disc 3 was about to be something totally different, or were you expecting more like the first two?
Well, I wasn't sure because the first track was called Intro. So I was like, maybe this is just like the intro. I was kind of like, maybe the rest of it, because then track 2 is actually more of a song again. And so I was like, okay. I'm not really sure when I realized this was going to be so different.
Probably, certainly by session 1, and then the little quick blip of This Is Love session 2 and we're finding something out. These tracks hit fast and they're seamless and smooth. It really is hard to keep track of where you are in the album.
Yeah, I guess I kind of, looking at the album, knew something was up because disc 3 is bigger than disc 1 and 2 combined in terms of track list.
Yeah. It's like, okay, what's up here? They've definitely backloaded it.
Yeah.
Disc 3, I think they put like a note in the liner notes of the album that says that it should be played through headphones, and you really have to sit with it and experience it in its entirety. They tried to like warn people for what was coming, that it was a concept album. But for people who just knew the other early November, the non-concept album listening crowd who wasn't expecting this, I think some of them, not all, some of them took a look at this and went, what the heck? Like, this doesn't click for everybody. You know, on this podcast, we talked about a lot of concept albums, and there's a certain amount of buy-in that has to happen for a concept album to be enjoyable. I think if you're not willing to give that, then the album doesn't have much to give you back.
I'm the concept album king, you know?
That's what they say. And by they, I mean you.
And so I do my best. I'm very critical of concept albums.
Yeah?
As their lord, I'm very protective of the tradition and of the
medium
importance. Yeah, I'm very protective of the medium, you know, of the power that is a concept album.
Yeah.
I would never make light of a concept album. I would never try to make a concept album out of something that isn't.
No, never.
That's just not me.
Nobody go back and listen to the Black Sabbath episode.
I'm very stoic and serious when it comes to concept albums.
Naturally, yeah.
And if none of this is sounding like sarcasm, maybe you haven't listened to enough of this podcast.
Yeah.
I struggle, man.
I know. Well,
I'm here for music, and I'm not getting a lot of music on this disc.
Well, on this disc, yeah. But that's the other thing about this album is, even if the concept lands a little off, you still have had 22 whole tracks of solid music. So there's a little bit of balance there, I hope.
Yeah, well, it's not very balanced because they tack it all onto the end. If it was spread out in the middle, I'd almost think it was a little more.
That's a great point and something we should definitely consider.
Yeah.
Would it be better if disc 3 told the story integrated into the songs?
I think it would.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think you take a couple of the tracks from disc 2, you move them up to disc 1. You got a solid 9 out of 10 album. I think you release disc 1 the way it is. It's probably sitting at around an 8. You could release disc 2 as its own. It probably scoring more like, for me, I know this is going to hurt for you, but probably sitting more around like a 6.
I get that.
And we'll talk about combined at the end, so I won't spoil that. But, you know, there's some work there. I think you almost never really need these talking interlude tracks like this. Almost never, right? There's a few exceptions that prove the rule, but for the most part, not necessary. But in a world where you're gonna do it, like the decision's already been made, it's happening, just commit to it and do the whole thing. Tell the story all the way through. Don't try to give me a solid album. Say, oh, this would be the album if we didn't want to take a risk, and then take the risk and try to just cram all the exposition in at the end.
Interesting.
I was not as big a fan of that.
Okay.
I want the story just told throughout.
Does make sense.
Or if like your concept album is some sort of like twist ending, you know, that's fine. You can save like a twist for the end, which they almost try to pull here by being like, surprise, it's a concept album.
A little bit.
But that's less of a twist and more just like, oh, surprise, this album isn't what you thought it was.
Yeah.
It's not so much a twist in the story. So, you know, you can have a twist in your story that you hold off on until the end, but tell the story throughout.
Yeah. I think counterpoint, doing it at the end like they do it, gives them the chance to revisit the story. Like, you know, we talk about, oh, we grew up the same and stuff relates to Money in This Hand and the rest of my life. And you walk through the story with the first 2 discs, and then disc 3 gives them a chance to revisit the story with different songs that kind of shed new light and new perspectives on the same beats of the story.
And that's good. You're right. The actual songs on disc 3 that revisit some of the themes, like you were talking about how Decoration kind of comes back in like a sad ballad, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's not the part I'm knocking.
Sure.
But I think you can do that without also cramming all the exposition of like the interludes and these random little tiny sessions and stuff like that all in around that stuff. I think it actually detracts from, think of it like a musical, right? A lot of the songs get reprises in Act 2.
That's true.
But if you didn't find out any of the exposition of the story till Act 2, it would kind of really distract you from the reprise.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or if you do want to do it this way, make the exposition more of a song, like your favorite band,
like
Coheed and Cambria. How their exposition, it goes across multiple albums, right? But they're all told through song, pretty much.
True.
At least what I've listened to, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a way, they've kind of like taken the worst of both worlds. They crammed it all in at the end, and they made it not a song for the most part, rather than either making it a song at the end or giving me the interludes throughout. They kind of picked the worst of the two.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows between song and spoken a lot. Sometimes one of the sessions, even contains a bit of song in it or flows really smoothly into the next song, and then we flow out of it into the next session. It's definitely constructed to be its own entity.
And to do it all after 22 other songs. Again, if disc 3 was the whole story, again, we'd be really sad because we'd be missing a lot of stuff. But if I was just to listen to disc 3, it maybe wouldn't be as bad, because I would get that story throughout, and the way the songs flow into one another might be better, right? Mm-hmm. But because it's all telling a story about stuff I already listened to for like an hour.
At least an hour.
Yeah, it's too much almost at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do we need 24 songs to tell the story, to connect the story of the 22 songs that came before it? I think it's a little gluttonous, this album.
Wow.
Specifically in disc 3.
I mean, I can't even argue. Look how long it is.
Yeah.
It is indulgent, yes. But what do you think about like the actual content of the story beats and stuff?
That's a good story.
We should talk about that a little bit. How it's a father and a son, and their lives kind of mirror each other in a way, right? The main character's father is Matt, and he and his girlfriend get married and run away really young. And, his own dad is kind of discouraged the relationship. His girlfriend's dad gives him a job that he hates.
As a mechanic.
Not as a mechanic, but, doing legal work. But when they have a surprise kid, it's going to change their lifestyle too much. They're like teenagers, and this kid is so unwanted and so scary. They pawn him off onto the grandparents.
Classic.
And he sings about stuff like that. I grew up calling my dad uncle, but I have my mom's eyes. I resemble my mother. And so our main character, Dean, recognizes that he's kind of living this lie. His grandma, like we mentioned earlier on Outside and Long Talks, like she gets sick, dies, and suddenly he's thrust into a new life with the parents that he thought were his aunt and uncle the whole time. Then they have it out. Obviously, they don't get along. He's resentful that they didn't come back and grab him sooner, right? That they let him have this fake life all the time. They're resentful that he's mad. They just don't understand. They're telling him he has to grow up and live life right. He meets a girl, Dean does, and decides to run away with her, to the chagrin of his parents, who, do the same thing that they've always done. Yell at him, berate him, tell him it's an awful idea. And so he runs away with his girlfriend, and then they too discover that they're expecting a child. They're both 18, they're not ready for it, and the whole conversation unfolds as Dean talking to a therapist about all this, kind of relating his own story back to his father's story. And we end disc 3 somewhere around session 8, part 2, and Runaway 2, right? We see this cycle starting over as our protagonist has run away, just like his own father did to him. Just as soon as he's about to have a kid, he's worried about the future, trying to figure out how to be a better dad. And the story does kind of twist a little bit at the ending as Dean's voice and the therapist's voice slowly and weirdly merge into the same thing in a bigger meaning. Kind of creepy, kind of odd. And it kind of leaves the album, I feel like, a little unresolved. Like, what's this all been? But anyway, how does that story land for you? Do the beats of the story make sense? Are they logical? Is it forced at all?
Yeah, no, I think the story's logical. Again, I think a little forced the way they do it, but I think the story is logical. Like I said, you can almost kind of pick up on it as you go.
That's true.
Especially on a re-listen. It's there, right?
Yeah, it's not a very friendly concept album for the first listen because of the third disc exposition structure. You almost have to go back through it a second time knowing what's happening to the characters to be able to puzzle piece your way and figure out where each song fits into the story for the first 22 tracks. Did you have any standout, despite all the complaints about, structure and decisions on track 3, did you have any standout musical moments? Good or bad? For me, I really like Never Coming Back.
Never Coming Back was going to be mine. So much like I did with Hair on disc 2, saying that would be when I would move up to disc 1 if this was to be a single disc.
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd make it fit tonally, but Never Coming Back would be the one I'd want to steal from disc 3.
It feels so strong. Yeah, it definitely should be included. You could fit it easily in Long Talks and Outside, because that's the part of the story it relates to.
Yeah, it probably would fit there. That's probably a good spot for it. You're right.
He even talks about, even the lyrics reference, it's those long talks I won't forget.
Yeah.
So you go through, long talks, I'm going to be sick for a while, you're gone and you're never coming back again. But then I think, as beautiful as You're Never Coming Back is, it just gets so, and I mean, this is intentional because of the beat of the story, so tonally undercut by Guess What? With this banjo and this little plunky dunk, hey, we're your parents, surprise, which is fine because it's a jolt for our Dean in the story too, but still, like, I feel like they should just let that moment breathe a little more.
Would you switch it with like session 6?
Yeah, probably.
I mean, you'd have to change the dialogue a little bit, right? Because you haven't found anything out yet.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like a song, because it's softer, but it has that kind of banjo twang to it as well. So it could almost be a good transition. Even if maybe you left session 6 here, but you put a session 5.5 that was just that instrumental.
Yeah.
Before going right into Guess What? But I guess again they're going for that abrupt surprise because that's how he felt right in that moment.
It's true.
So it's like I get why they do it. It's just not good for somebody who's just casually listening.
Right. Yeah, there's no time to process the grief of his grandma.
It's the difference between like art and with like in art, right? Where you got like art that's made for art fanatics, right? And people of that culture, and then there's art that's made for just casual viewing, and they're usually very different.
Yeah, it's the buy-in that makes that work or not work.
Yeah, exactly. It's the buy-in, absolutely. So, me giving the perspective of a first-time listener, my advice to you at like 2 hours into the podcast of an album you've probably already listened to is, if you haven't listened to it, you got to buy into it, or it's going to fall flat for you.
Yeah, very true. I think the Runaways are good musical moments from Disc 3. And that whole ending, from session 9 down through A Bigger Meaning, just really does a good job at being kind of a climax in the story. A final moment as we put the last of the pieces in place.
So, yeah, Runaway 2, I really like. But that's only, I think, because Runaway 1 exists.
It's that change into the lyrics.
I think Runaway 2 is better than Runaway 1. But I think that's because Runaway walked, so Runaway 2 could run away.
Nice. Runaway 2 has a lot more of the bite that we found on Disc 1.
Yeah. And like you said, the change of the lyrics.
Yeah. The air will be thicker and it will feel more bitter and just, oh man, so much stuff. I don't like the part in Disc 3 where we just jump into a rock version of If You're Happy and You Know It.
Well, why not?
I understand it's sarcastic because Dean's not happy and he knows it. He even says as much as like, that's sarcasm.
You weren't happy about the I'm happy and I know it section?
I did not clap my hands.
You were not clapping your hands?
I think overall it's just a really interesting way to turn this album into a clear concept album. It was a loose one before. There's nothing loose about Disc 3. No more inferences. I think the problem is if you just listen to Disc 1 and 2, there's a lot of open-endedness, a lot of room for interpretation about what the story is and what's happening. Disc 3 closes every ounce of that off to you as a listener. They kind of hold your hand through the story, and there's no more inferences to be made. So in a way, it kind of takes away a lot of agency from this record that you've been in. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. Did one disc stand out above the rest? It sounds like for you it was Disc 1.
Disc 1!
Wow, strong start. And then I guess it was all downhill from there.
Like I said, big risk.
It is. I think I'm still partially at a Disc 2. I don't mind Disc 3.
I'm not surprised you like this too.
Yeah.
I like this too. I think Disc 1 and Disc 2 are definitely... There's like a step of separation, between Disc 1 and Disc 2 for me. But there's a whole staircase between Disc 2 and Disc 3.
Yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. Disc 3 it's the ambitious part. But let's, I guess, get into some final spin. We've kind of debriefed the whole album already, so I feel like I don't have too much else to say about the flow between music and stuff. I think this album is very ambitious. Like, who approaches your label and says, hey, we're going to make a 46-track, 2-hour album. Like, you cool? And the label says, cool, do it. That just doesn't happen. So the ambition is there. I love that attitude, the can-do-ness. I think it's very well executed, honestly, even down to the concept. The way that it unfolds is a little interesting, but I think it's rare to find a concept album told like the third disc. Most of them do what we talked about this one maybe could have done and tell the story throughout from beginning to end the first time. Look at American Idiot and what they did. There's no third bit that goes back and explains how the first two worked. They just kind of introduce characters and let you figure it out and walk alongside them as you go.
I don't want to walk. I want to be pushing a wheelbarrow.
Well, this is not an album that pushes you in a wheelbarrow. And especially you shouldn't do that if it feels like there's a staircase between the first two discs and the third one.
Well, that's what makes it fun.
That's how you get to be late, Connor. So long. I think it's hefty. I think this album is a lot to digest.
Hefty, hefty, hefty.
Especially on one listen. Man, I remember my first listen. It was very confusing. And even now, for this episode, I came back to it after a long time away. And the first listen was still like, what's the story doing here? Like, how's this relate? So I feel that fog over the first couple tracks a lot. And it's so long. It's definitely one I think you were right to break up into chunks for just fatigue. You know, to go through the whole thing for 2 hours and 10 minutes takes a significant commitment. I think the story's a little off the wall at times, a little bit forced, a little bit unrealistic, but not so bad. I just think so many of these songs sound so good, especially through the first 22. There's a lot of really intriguing stuff in here. So, for the music, I'm giving it an 84. I'm giving the lyrics a 76, giving the instruments and production an 82. A lot of diversity in this album in terms of the production, like fast and slow and even like orchestral at some points on that third disc. So they, vary it up a lot. The overall vibe, given a 76. Some of that is to do for length. Some of that is to do for pacing and spacing and storytelling ability. But at the end of the day, The Mother, the Mechanic, and The Path is getting an 80.8 from me, which puts it at number 645 on my list, above the Wu-Tang Clan and 36 Chambers, below Soundgarden and Bad Motorfinger. I think it's a unique album and a fun one to have in the podcast repertoire. But while I think it's a fun listen, I don't know if I'd consider it like a must listen, like some other concept albums I know. I think this is a deeper cut. Like if you're really into concept albums, give this one a try. If you're not, give the first 2 discs a try.
My turn?
Yep.
My turn. My turn. My turn. My turn. Well, I already said solid 9 for disc 1.
Which is great.
Especially if you move a couple tracks. Probably looking at like an 8 for disc 2. Disc 3, it's a hard 5. Even taking into account, like, trying to buy in.
Yeah.
Like, that's a bought-in 5.
Well, given all you were saying, that doesn't sound so bad as I expected.
But, looking at the album as a whole,
You gotta aggregate it.
you gotta aggregate, and as much unenjoyment that I got from disc 3, I got an equal, if not more, amount of enjoyment out of disc 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Balance.
And so, I give this album 7 congas out of 10.
Oh, 7 congas. Not breaking any records for length. Well, actually, that's funny because the album itself does break some length records for us.
Well, but imagine if all 7 of my congas were to, like, go around a watermelon really fast.
Oh, yeah.
Or even really just a medium speed.
That'd be a brand new record by a lot. Even just at medium speed.
Imagine if they actually did it as a conga.
Yeah, that'd be something. 7 congas. Honestly, yeah, I think that means the first 2 discs they did what I wanted them to do for you. Because I wanted you to have the songs on these first 2 discs, and the consequence is you have to also take the third, It's like a Beware advantage.
It is getting a pretty low 7.
Yeah? How low of a 7?
Yeah, it's going to go right below Knox Hamilton.
Nice. Okay. Ooh, but it beats out Julian Baker.
Yeah, it does.
Awesome. The Pickle Queen has been taken down by the Conga Concept King.
Triple C.
Well, what about that top 3? You have so many songs to pick from.
So for my top 3, I have so many songs to pick from. But I've done something. I've picked my top 3 by picking my top song from each disc.
Oh, that's fun. And then one free agent honorable mention.
Yeah, my honorable mention is a free agent. Exactly.
Awesome. Oh, I like that.
So from disc 1, it's pretty easy. It's Decoration.
Wow. Yeah, it is.
Pretty easy. Disc 2, going with Hair.
No surprise based on what you said.
Disc 3, gotta go with Never Coming Back.
You didn't give it to Decoration a second time.
And my honorable mention, Free Agent. It's rough because I really did want to give it to Decoration a second time.
Yeah, of course.
But I do think 1,000 Times a Day is more deserving.
Oh, see? So the most top 3s come from disc 2 for you too. That's a great mentionable track. Can I do a thing for the first time? Since there's 46 songs on this album, can I solicit a bottom 3 from you?
Jeez.
Like excluding all the session tracks that are pretty indistinct. That you wouldn't, you'd have to re-listen to them to figure out which session is which.
Should I pick a bottom 3, one from each disc, just like I did my top 3?
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Bottom three, probably looking from disc one. That's a toughie. That's probably the hardest one to pick.
Yeah. There's some spikes that are better, but they're all pretty similarly yoked on disc one.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Make a Decision. I think it gets a little too hard on the rock, a little too loud and repetitive.
Yeah. Run while you can.
Yeah. It's tough. It's because it is better than a lot of other stuff on disc three.
It's true.
But, if I'm looking just at disc one, that's probably the least favorite there. That'd be the first one to go in, like, replacement of hair,
Yeah.
From disc two, we're looking a little easier.
Okay.
And it is pretty easily. I don't know how to say this.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that song kind of sounds off to me. Didn't even talk about it, but
Yeah.
something about the melody and the way he sings it is feeble, and it sounds sharp.
Yes, and not in a good way.
Yeah, a little atonal somehow, but it's like not, but it is. That is his one falter, his one misstep of melody, I think almost exclusively on this album that I can point to.
Disc three gets harder again. Not because I really like it,
That's for the opposite reasons.
but for the opposite reason, yeah. It's not we're finding something out, because I like the horns on that.
Yeah, that's a little goofball kind of track. Circusy, almost.
Like, if I can't pick the sessions, I have to pick an actual track. It's probably Look at Me.
Oh, that song.
Yeah, I'm going to go Look at Me.
That song pretty much grinds to a halt, too.
Yeah.
It's got the same kind of staccato thing that a song like Hair is doing, but it's so much slower. It's good for the story, but yeah, it does not work as a standalone. I guess you could include a session, but
And then my honorable mention for bottom three.
is it the Happy and You Know It session?
No.
Oh,
My honorable mention for bottom three is going to be Guess What, just because of how abrupt it is.
we're your parents. Yeah, reasonable.
Again, it works thematically, but that's why I didn't give it my true bottom three, but it is just abrupt after coming off of one of my top threes, never coming back.
It's kind of fun. Wait. They do a little stutter step. Yeah, it is goofy. Yeah, that's a fine bottom one.
So there you go.
Nice.
But, you mentioned the majority of my top threes came, not the majority, but more of my top threes came from disc two than any other disc.
It's true. It's disc true.
And so does my playlist pick.
Whoa.
Despite this one being my favorite disc, I'm going with Hair.
No, man. Just kidding. Hair. Okay. That's a good playlist pick.
How about you?
Wow, you've left me a tough call.
I thought I knew what you were going to pick, but the way you're hesitating makes me think maybe you're not.
What did you think I was going to pick?
When you spoiled earlier what your favorite track was?
Oh, like A Little More Time?
Yeah!
I do like A Little More Time. Yeah, I do think that's going to be my pick. Also from disc 2.
Double dipping in disc two.
Isn't that weird? How is that true? Like, disc 2 must just have stronger singles for us because...
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think disc two has some stronger singles, although Decoration is great, and I'm sad to see it not make it onto the playlist.
I know.
But I do think A Little More Time and Hair make a good playlist picks.
Yeah.
I do. I think disc two maybe has some more memorable singles, right? Like we mentioned, disc one, Decoration's like the big one and kind of dwarfs the rest of that disc.
Yes.
Whereas disc two is maybe a little more balanced and has some, maybe not to the level of Decoration hits, but more rising star hits. It has Hair, it has 1,000 Times a Day, it has A Little More Time. It has these more memorable tracks maybe that, they're not peaks, but they're higher hills.
Yeah.
But this one, maybe for me at least, feels a little more cohesive and in my genre wheelhouse than this. Although this two has a lot of ballads, but I don't know. There's something about the way this one comes together. It's definitely, there's a reason that's the album, the disc they would turn into an album if it was just to be one album.
Yeah, it would hold up. Wow.
Well,
Awesome. There you go. I think that satisfies it.
Satisfies it.
An episode about the longest album we've talked about so far. You really distracted me. You're throwing me off with that. Late Connor strikes again.
I was going to keep going until you acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Just slightly late. We were trying to be in sync with you.
Like a conga line. It's me in front and you right behind me on the dialogue conga line.
Dialogue conga line.
So help me. I'll flip your van. I don't know.
Whoa! Wow!
Well, if we're going to set the world record, or break the world record, I guess, we got to get going, Put some equipment in there. I'll flip
That's
it.
true. We have several vans to flip in a 1 or 2 month period.
We better do one just to be safe.
First, we gotta get a van. Dude, a spin it van? We need a spin it van.
We absolutely don't.
What are we gonna put our blimp in? when we need to take it places.
It goes places on its own. That's its whole thing, is it's a mode of transportation.
I guess. What would be more shocking than to roll up to a place and they're like, whoa, nice van, what's in it? And then you're like,
A full-size blimp.
boom, out comes a blimp. Well, it would be all folded up from where we deflated it. And then we pull it out, inflate it up, and then take to the skies.
Well, then what do we do with the van? That's a logistical problem for later.
Now I'm just imagining we use it as like a counterweight on the bottom of the basket.
Oh, like the top of the van becomes a blimp? That's cool.
That is cool. I do like that. I like that idea.
Yes. We'll workshop it. Hey, if you want more Spin It, be sure to like and follow wherever you're listening to podcasts. We'd love to see you back for more stuff. We're officially out of Mixtober next week. We did this one today on the last day of October because, it's the early November.
This was honorary.
Yeah, honorary Mixtober. We had a tie to break, and we didn't.
Honorable mention Mixtober?
Oh, yeah, Mixtober honorable mention. The one that you hated. Oh, we'll see you next week for more stuff. Tune into our social media for more.
Yes.
You can find us on Instagram at SpinItPodOfficial and on X at SpinItPod.
At SpinItPodOfficial and on X at
He's doing it again. You can go to our website, www.spinitpod.com.
www.
Oh, you're not going to...
How many W's were there?
Oh, there were 3. I was going to leave that one in there because it's good to repeat our website as many times as possible so people remember it.
Oh, okay. www.spinitpod.com.
Yeah.
www.spinitpod.com. www.spinitpod.com.
That's right.
www.spinitpod.com.
Well, we will see you next week. And...
Hey!
Oh, sorry. I forgot. I was so distracted by you saying the website over and over again. I was like, let's get this over with.
Tell a friend about the podcast.
Yeah, please.
Tell a friend of yours who's a mechanic about the podcast.
Wow.
Bonus points if they're not really a mechanic.
Yeah, right. A fake mechanic. Extra bonus points if you tell a friend who is a mechanic and a mother.
And a path.
And you tell them while you're walking on a path.
Oh, they don't have to be a path?
No, that'd be impossible because that doesn't make any sense.
Take your closest mechanic mother out to your farthest away path and tell them about the podcast.
Listen to this album on your way. You might have enough time. We'll see you next week. And you know what to do. Keep spinning. Did you say keep spinning?
Keep spinning!
Oh, late Connor strikes again. Do you want to do a bit where you say something and I make it sound like it's from disc 3? Do you want to do it? I can make your voice a lower pitch like the...
No. Why would I want to do that?
Well, I don't know, because it's funny and exclusive, unique to this episode.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like if you were to pretend you're Dean, right, on disc 3, what are you saying to the therapist?
They made me eat 5 pumpkin spice Frosties.
No, they. That sounds... I've got to be the therapist in this. I have to be neutral. I can't rebut like that. Oh no, that sounds horrible. Who did that to you?
The Mixtaper. And James.
Well, I thought the Mixtaper was the one who ate the Frosties.
Wait, I thought I ate them because the Mixtaper lost.
Oh, you're right. Oh, well, he is a supervillain. You should expect that from him. That's an entirely different concept album that you just made.
www.spinipod.com. 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 www.spinipod.com.
We'll see you at the Conga Olympics.
www.spinipod.com. www.spinipod.com. www.spinipod.com.
Yeah!